Although Donald Trump has already been elected president twice, he is still acting like he is on the campaign trail. It is the only way that he knows how to operate. And there's a reason that Donald Trump is behaving that way. And it came up in a recent, incredibly bizarre speech that he just gave. And one shocking moment that kind of just left the crowd stunned, especially the Republican elected officials there, including Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, when the speech really took a strange turn. Maybe not strange for Trump, but it is strange for everyone else. And we are going to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this bizarre Trump speech, which of course started with fear-mongering about immigrants.
And I don't want these violent repeat offenders in our country any more than I want illegal aliens from other countries who misbehave. And I say, and this is subject to getting it approved, but if they've been arrested many, many times, they're repeat offenders by many numbers, I want them out of our country. I also will be seeking permission to do so. We're going to get approval, hopefully, to get them the hell out of our country along with others. Let them be brought to a foreign land and maintained by others for a very small fee, as opposed to be maintained in our jails for massive amounts of money, including the private prison companies that charge us a fortune. You know, let them be brought out of our country and let them live there for a while. Let's see how they like it. You'll see crime all over the country.
Donald Trump's attempt at a mass deportation plan, which I guess he is going to break every law in the pursuit of completing, is already off to a rocky start. It has already started a trade war with Colombia that is going to result in higher cost for coffee and flowers weeks before Valentine's Day. And Donald Trump doesn't really seem to care about that, but he's already talking about the small fee we'll have to pay. And I think it's important to remind people, not only will Donald Trump's mass deportation plan cost trillions of dollars to carry out just to make it happen. But if you want to talk about the economic impact that will happen to the service industry, that will happen to our farming industry, that will happen in healthcare, but like, it's unimaginable what the cost will be, as Donald Trump talks about but does not execute on actually lowering costs, because he doesn't seem to care in the same way that he doesn't seem to care about a real meritocracy when he's always bringing it up like he did right here.
Abolish 60 years of prejudice and hatred with the signing of one order, all approved by the Supreme Court of the United States. It was a big thing, and the United States has become a meritocracy again. We are a country that's based now on merit for success. Merit. If you're good at what you do, you're going to go places. I made it.
In what world is America a meritocracy again when Pete Hegseth, not even a Fox host, a Fox weekend fill-in host, is now our Secretary of Defense? Someone wholly unqualified, when RFK Jr. might be HHS Secretary because he's a political Nepo baby? Is that that's what qualifications are at this point? Kristi Noem gets a cabinet position because she likes shooting dogs and sucking up to Donald Trump. What has happened at this point that makes Donald Trump think that we are a meritocracy? I just saw a report that J.D. Vance has hired Tucker Carlson's son to be in his press office. Now, maybe Tucker Carlson's son is just as great as his dad at pushing horrible conspiracies and making people afraid. But no, that is not a meritocracy. This is nepotism. This is catering to Donald Trump's billionaire friends, and it couldn't be clearer. The lies keep coming out, just like a lie we heard right here.
I did a couple for myself countrywide. They're absolutely amazing. And we got the message out through that and lots of other means. We even got it out through TikTok. Has anyone ever heard of TikTok? I have a little bias toward TikTok right now, I have to tell you. So we won youth by the largest margin. No Republican, we generally don't win youth. We won by 36 points. Can you imagine that? And I think TikTok had something to do. So pardon me if I'm a little bit, I became a little bit jaded toward TikTok, but we'll see what happens. We're going to have a lot of people bidding on it, and if we can save all that voice and all the jobs, and China won't be involved. You don't want China involved, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
As a young person, I can be honest with y'all and say there is a scary movement of right-wing radicalization, people being caught in that right-wing pipeline in my generation, it's unfortunate. And myself and other young political creators are working to combat it. But on no planet did Donald Trump win young people by 36 points. That is a gross exaggeration, not even close to true. It's just Donald Trump trying to pretend that he had this huge win. We see this constantly pushed by MAGA right now, that Donald Trump has this overwhelming mandate to do whatever he wants, and whatever he wants is go after cultural issues. But that's not true. People elected Donald Trump to, in theory, bring down costs. Now, of course, they were wrong in the assessment that he could do that, but that's what we have to be focusing on. That is what we always have to be keyed in on, because Donald Trump isn't. He's talking about himself like he did right here.
We've gotten a lot of people elected with those teletown halls. We get on, we have 25, 30,000 people on just in a congressional area, and they win easy. It works for Elvis, the Beatles, and it doesn't work for anyone else, but it works for Trump. And we would have tremendous crowds on those calls, and I think I'll bet we got 35, 40 people elected because of the teletown halls. But I did say...
How is this man president? He's talking about his town halls and how he's like the Beatles and Elvis and so many people want to watch. He really does think that our government is a reality TV show. Donald Trump just wants to play host and hang out and talk and have everyone clap for him and get saluted and then go play golf. He really doesn't care about anything. And it's why I started this video, and we're about to see in this next clip, where just stuns the crowd, why Donald Trump is just pretending that he's on the campaign trail. And I want to get into all those reasons, but first, let us check out the clip.
I don't know how anybody could even vote for the other side. In many cases, they don't, but they do get credit for it. You'll have to think about that. I've raised a lot of money for the next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure because, I don't know. I think I'm not allowed to run again. I'm not sure. Am I allowed to run again, Mike? I better not get you involved in that argument. No, we raised a lot of money, a tremendous amount, and our teletown halls are something that's very special that nobody else is able to even contemplate using. We've gotten a lot of people elected with those teletown halls.
So we see Trump there speculating about, well, can I run for office again? Am I going to? Maybe I will. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, because Donald Trump wants to pretend that he's always on the campaign trail. If he is, it's easier for him to not be held accountable for not following up on any campaign promises, because he's still pretending like he's campaigning. And it's a great way for him to distract. But the other reason is, pretty soon MAGA is going to have to reckon with the fact that Donald Trump is getting really, really old. They love to talk about that with President Biden, but Trump's brain is really, really breaking down. He's losing it very quickly, and it's abundantly clear. They're going to have to figure out who the leader of their party is, and Donald Trump doesn't like that. He's a lame duck president. He wants to stay in power, and he wants his hold over MAGA. And if he's not running again, and he has no influence, and let's say Democrats take the House and the Senate 2 years, he won't be able to pass anything. What will Donald Trump be able to do? The only way that he can assert his power is by continuing to break the law like he likes to. And if he's breaking the law by running for another term, he's probably going to break the law however he wants. And it's also a distraction. It's also in part what this is. And Donald Trump can get us talking about, oh, is he running for another term? 2028. We don't need to look at 2028. I think 2025 is really important. I think what's happening right now is plenty good and plenty relevant to talk about. All these members of the mainstream media, all these pundits just want to chase whatever shiny thing Donald Trump puts in front of them. Focus on the now. There's a lot of important now to talk about. I see all these conversations of which Democrat is going to be the nominee in 2028. I'm always focused on how Democrats are combating Donald Trump now. I don't think our base or the American people, for that matter, care who our nominee is right now. They care about how we're responding to how dangerous and unlawful this administration is, and that's what we have to focus on. And speaking of unlawful, someone who's trying to defend the indefensible of their administration is the Vice President and J.D. Vance. Let's take a look what he had to say.
There are 5 legal challenges already to one of the other immigration actions, the order on birthright citizenship. A federal judge appointed by Ronald Reagan, I think you'd agree, has some conservative credentials,
Sure.
paused the order to end birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. How do you reconcile this challenge to the 14th Amendment to the Constitution?
So I obviously disagree with that judge, and these things, some of them will be litigated. That's the nature of our constitutional system. But here's the basic idea of President Trump's view on this. If you are a lawful permanent resident or a legal immigrant who plans to stay, your children, of course, should become American citizens. But let's say you're the child of an ambassador. You don't become...
But that's not part of it.
Well, that is
already a carve-out
an
having to deal
important
with kids of
principle.
diplomats.
But we're saying that carve-out should apply to anybody who doesn't plan to stay here. If you come here on vacation and you have a baby in an American hospital, that baby doesn't become an American citizen. If you're an illegal alien and you come here temporarily, hopefully, your child does not become an American citizen by virtue of just having been born on American soil. It's a very basic principle in American immigration law that if you want to become an American citizen and you've done it the right way, and the American people in their collective wisdom have welcomed you into our national community, then you become a citizen. But temporary residents, people who come in here, whether legally or illegally, and don't plan to stay, their children should become American citizens. I don't know any country that does that or why we would be different.
Well, this is a country founded by immigrants.
Well, this is a country founded by... This is a very unique country, and it was founded by some immigrants and some settlers, but just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world. No country says that temporary visitors, their children, will be given complete access to the benefits and blessings of American citizenship.
J.D. Vance is just such a squish. He's just such a goober, if I can use that word to describe. Like, he doesn't care. He's so spineless. He has no defense of anything. He's always flip-flopping on what Donald Trump wants, what he doesn't want. There's the report out right now. A lot of people are talking about how it was J.D. Vance saying on Fox a couple of weeks ago that, of course, Donald Trump wouldn't be pardoning people who violently beat up police officers, and the reaction from the base to that led him to do so, say, F it, let them all out. And so I think JD very much misunderstands where his boss is coming from, and he's trying to suck up to Trump as much as he possibly can. It's the only way he can have any authority. And what JD's doing here is just so obviously noxious and ridiculous. He doesn't have any legal argument. He's constantly being corrected for the lies that he's pushing, and he has no focus on a real outcome. It's just all angry and hateful. I guess he did learn that from Donald Trump, but this isn't focused on what people care about. Of course, this administration isn't. And we have to continue to call that out every single day, and we're going to on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.